There's a lot of talk about launching a podcast, but often it's just that talk. How would you suggest that a company get started with a podcast? Because from the outside looking in, it appears that there's a lot of moving parts. It takes a lot of time and effort. I think there's probably some concern about expenses in terms of what kind of investment you need to make. I think it keeps a lot of companies on the sidelines as opposed to jumping into the fray. What would be your advice for companies that want to launch a podcast, but they're holding themselves back for some reason?
Full disclaimer, I'm not a podcast production expert. We help people to speak on existing podcasts, but we talk to a lot of companies that are maybe considering launching a podcast, but they're not ready to launch a podcast just yet. And usually it's lack of time or lack of expertise, or they're realizing that it will be a huge commitment. You don't want as a brand to commit to something like podcast that is really very often indefinite activity that you are running, right? It just doesn't look good if you don't keep doing it. And really the trust is built through consistency. But if there's a B2B brand that is considering launching a podcast, I think that the first step would really be to choose what you want to talk about and what will be your unique point of view, and then choosing the right subject matter expert that can represent you. It doesn't have to be your CEO. If there's someone else in your company that understands your target audience more than your CEO, maybe they worked in the industry, then they might be a better host for that podcast. And I heard about companies that are actually hiring people externally to host their podcast. They would speak on a level with often technical terms with their buyers. So I think that it's about finding your point of view, finding your topic, finding your little space in the market, and then having the right host that can actually commit to it and keep doing it for a very, very, very long time.
That's great advice. One thing that I would offer is it's okay to take a walk before you run approach to podcasting. A lot of people may look at a podcast and think, I have to do one every single week. But my advice would be for a B2B SaaS company is start with one podcast a month. That's all you need. A 30-minute conversation with someone. And then to get ROI, to learn and to educate yourself, start extracting content for blog posts, LinkedIn posts, Twitter updates, answers on Quora, things that you can post on Instagram. There's all kinds of goodness that comes out from just doing one podcast a month.